Password accepted. You may now enter the bunker.
And welcome everybody to Enter the Bunker. Fun challenges empowering you, the people, to survive and thrive in today's world. And today, as you can see, we are ready for Halloween. Who do we have here?
I don't know.
Is that your best, deep voice you could do?
Yes. This is how I'm going to talk the whole stream.
So today is going to be a very special episode where we are going to be discussing some of the scary things in this world, ghosts and legends. Yes, and we are going to be talking to the chat to share with us their stories, and we'll be sharing our own. And we'll also be looking at some of the other local legends that are happening around here, and we'll find out what's the scariest. Thank you, Michael Mayer. For joining the channel. You can see everybody, he subscribed. You can see our great jack-o'-lanterns here. Ooh.
I know that's not how I spelled mayor, but. What?
That's actually perfect.
Was it?
Completely right, yeah.
Yay!
Okay, I'm not going to do the whole show on this thing.
Me either. Welcome.
I'm going to just keep Marshmallow right over here.
I may throw the hood up though.
And
So I pretty much am only wearing this onesie because it's warm. And it's cute. Right?
yeah, it's cute. Chat, do you think it's cute?
All right, let's say hi to some chat.
Yeah, let's say hi to some chat.
Let's say hi. So I'm going to shout out Jacob first because Jacob has been here for 2 hours waiting for this to start. So hello,
that is
Jacob
impressive.
Merkurva. The official Trevor, Nicholas Syme, hello. It's your boy May. Kiesel, Burdakis, Nicholas Syme, Caden Harris. Korosov plays, Cecil Herondon. Sorry guys, I'm really not good at pronunciation. Funk Fox. See, I can do that one. Smalley Slayer Cam. And of course, Kelsey and Jewel and Noble. Hey guys. Jewel says, I love those jack-o'-lanterns.
What did Noble Canadian have to say?
Noble Canadian says, good morning, John and Kelly and producers. I received my alien shirt merch 2 days ago. Thanks so much. My real name is on the wall now. Coolness. LOL at John and Kelly in the costumes.
Yeah. Noble Canadian is one of the lucky few who managed to snag
some of the 100 shirts.
Yeah, our alien shirts, and we are going to be coming out with others in the future, so you want to be sure whenever we do offer these limited editions, you should pay attention and get yours before they go too quick.
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect, doing a visual bit where you guys are wearing costumes for the start of a podcast is probably an oversight.
Right. So if you're... Sure can.
Yeah.
And you definitely want to see them. All right.
So,
Josh and Blue, I haven't seen you in forever. You must not have school today. Can you put my name on the chat board? I subbed. Did you, Caden Harris? Do you recognize that name?
don't remember Caden Harris subbing.
All right, Caden Harris.
We'll take your word for it. We'll assume that you're honorable. You're here, so you should be.
You guys get too far in the weeds. You want to talk about how this is the last episode of season 1 of Enter the Bunker.
This is the last episode of season 1 of Enter the Bunker.
Nice.
Which means season 2 will be coming up the second week of November. Can I have a date on that?
Hold on.
November 9th.
November 9th, yeah. So we are off next week.
We are off
There'll be
next
no
week.
new shows. There'll be lots of like social media stuff, but no YouTube shows next week until November 9th when we are back with a new set, a new energy, perhaps some new merch.
And do you want me to tell you one thing that I'm super looking forward to?
What?
The pizza taste test challenge.
Oh yeah, pizza taste test is coming up.
I'm so excited.
That's gonna be good.
November 18th,
That's on November 18th.
but we will not next week.
No, we will not. That's very sad.
We'll be all over TikTok though.
Ever since the middle of June, we've been doing this, and we won't be here next week.
This is like our 60th episode since June something.
Yay, us.
Wow, seriously, 60 episodes? That's what we've done?
Just straight into the bunker, probably closer to 100 total streams.
Wow.
Aw, Jewel says, you're not allowed to take the whole week off. I'll be so lost without my MFW.
MWF.
We're giving the producers keys to the TikTok, so it should be, there'll be lots of nice content next week.
Yeah, there'll still be the TikToks and
Yeah.
all kinds of other things on our social media, just
Yeah, our
not here on
social media will
YouTube.
blow up next
Yeah.
week, too.
And there'll be a video on Saturday, there'll be something on Saturday regarding the pumpkins in front of you.
I almost said regarding Christmas. Halloween.
I think Funk Fox wants to have
Funk
something
Fox.
shouted out.
Happy birthday to you. That's all we're saying.
Sounded like you're gonna keep going.
I thought about it, but you guys don't want to hear me sing.
I think he's happy with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
You guys can chat about what we did yesterday and what will become of it.
We carved pumpkins yesterday, and this is what you're going to have as a little sneak peek of tomorrow. It's falling apart. I put glow sticks in here because we didn't have any candles, but maybe at the end of the stream we can shut all the lights off and light these babies up.
Not a bad idea.
You brought candles, right?
I got enough candles for this, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. We should
Yeah.
do that.
Another great thing for a podcast.
Right.
So should we tell them
I
about
always forget
why we did these designs?
Because we had a contest.
Does anybody know what this is? Like, just looking at it, do you know what her design is? Tell us in the chat.
It'd be better lit.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, podcast, if you want to see these punkies, you got to go watch the vid.
it looks like a very funny looking kind of a smiley face
What do you mean?
pumpkin guy.
So everybody at the bunker carved a pumpkin.
Yes.
So there's 6 of them, and we're gonna post them somewhere today, and you guys can vote on who did the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Vote me. I worked so hard.
Oh, people are recognizing it's a bat.
Yay.
So you did pretty good on that then.
Kelly, can you read Jules' thing there?
Yeah. Yesterday, my daughter turned 4, and she said, will you call enter the bunker so they will tell me happy birthday? Happy birthday, Jules' daughter.
Oh, that's so sweet.
What's her name, Jules?
Yeah, what's her name?
Guess.
Happy birthday, Guess.
Nora. I'm going to guess Nora. That's my favorite girl name right now, Nora. Don't steal it.
Arabella?
Arabella. Ooh, that's so cute. Do you call her Bella? Happy birthday, Arabella.
Ask her if she's named after the Arctic Monkey song.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
It looks like it's spelled different though.
Yeah.
There's an H in there.
Yeah. Of course. All right, cool. So we got some scary stories coming in.
It's gonna be scary.
Noble says, I've had dreams about aliens, 2 landing, waving high, and some type of black object in sky doing folding maneuvers, and me in UFO in military, but no scary experiences. That's kind of scary.
That didn't scare you?
It scared me.
Yeah, I think I mean, you would think a
If I
dream
had
like
a
that would scare
UFO
you.
dream every single night, I think I'm done for.
Really?
Would you? What do you think the world would be trying to tell you if you keep having UFO dreams?
Maybe it means you're actually being abducted and you're remembering your experience.
Yeah. Maybe you're abducted every night.
Yeah. Wow. So we are going to get into our scary stories, I guess.
Yes, we are.
Do you want to start or should I?
I really only have one,
Really?
like personal, and it's not really scary. It's just more like sentimental, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So how many do you have?
Got a few.
Okay, you go first then.
I go first.
Just tell one and then I'll tell one, I guess.
So probably the most recent one I can think of is my father
Okay.
when he passed away, which was just a few years ago.
Hey,
We
John, before you get too far into that, where are the candles for the jet line?
They should be sitting right there on the table there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
So your father
So
who
my
passed away a few years ago.
Yeah, my father passed away a few years ago, and it was rather sudden, but somewhat expected. Like he was already in the hospital, and so he was having some health issues, and so he passed away, and I was there, and so we went to the funeral home to make arrangements, and so we were there with my whole family. My wife and my son Neo at the time, which he was like 3 years old at the time. No, he was like 3 or 4. No, he was like 4 years old at the time, I think. And while we were there, we're sitting there with the funeral director person, and we're talking about things. And while we're sitting there, Neo starts to play like hide and seek with somebody.
Really?
Yeah. So he starts to, he said, like, so he was like, he would duck down behind the table and then look up, and then duck down behind the table and then look up. And he starts looking like directly at the space where there was nothing there.
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. And that was, and it was, you know, we had a sense of like, it was just like it was my father who was like following us sort of
Right.
thing, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably one of the more recent ones. Prior to that, there's of course all the ghost hunting we've done here. And
I have one if you needed it. Okay.
Neo's had quite a few, like you've told me a few stories where Neo's had,
Yeah, like an
Different
experience at the
encounters
bunker
himself.
too.
yeah, when he was 3 years old, we were here at the bunker one time, and he came while we were here. He came to us and he says like he goes, I said hello. He said he said the nice man. He came and he did the same motion that the same man did. He said the man. He leaned down and he said hello, little boy. Like that, and it was only us. There was nobody in the building,
goosebumps.
right? But he saw somebody who actually said hello, little boy to him while he was here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's freaky.
yeah.
So mine's actually not similar, but again, it was my grandmother. She passed away when I was probably like 11 or 12, and she passed away actually October 30th. So today's the date.
Oh.
Isn't that weird? Actually, that just hit me. Never remembered that till right now. So she died from cancer, and she was diagnosed at the beginning of October, and they gave her 6 months to a year to live, and she died 2 weeks later. So I guess it was the middle of October then when she was diagnosed. Anyways, she was like the person who had all her Christmas shopping done already in October. So Christmas time came, and I still got my gift from her because she already had the gifts bought for everybody, and it was a bead set. And I was really into sports and everything, and making best friend bracelets and keychains. So I was upstairs in my room, and I had all like the letters laid out on my bed, for like one for soccer, one for basketball. Then I had like best friends, and anyways, they were all laid out. Just needed to be strung. I was just like making the patterns, and I heard this like shaking noise in my room, and it freaked me out. Like I just had like this eerie feeling in me. So I went downstairs, and Mom's like, "Oh, it was the dryer or the washer was just going." Sometimes it gives the house a little shake, and she's probably just trying to talk me out of my creepiness. Anyways, I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I go back upstairs. The beads are all over the floor. I should also mention that when she passed away, I did mention how they gave her 6 months to a year, but she lived 2 weeks. So I was always really upset that I never got to say goodbye to her, and I took it really hard. And anyway, so I came back up upstairs, and the beads were all over the floor, and I was like, Daisy, but Daisy was my cat at the time, and she was still laying on the bed, so she like hadn't got up, but I thought she knocked them all off. Anyways, I bent down to pick them up, and as soon as I bend down to pick up the beads, I look on the floor, and they're spelled out goodbye.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. So I found that was definitely closure for me, and after that, felt much better about the situation because I wasn't as upset that I didn't get to say goodbye to her because
That gave me crazy goosebumps.
yeah. And now I'm gonna cry.
Aw, that's so nice though.
Anyways, that was mine. That's pretty well the only eerie experience I've ever had, I guess, other than like seeing like stuff out of my peripheral vision walking by that one hallway there, which I've talked about before. So
Yes, there's the hall to the women's washroom.
yeah.
Kelsey had a story in the chat.
Okay, we'll read that. Kelsey? My grandma passed away on July 5th, 1996. On July 5th this year, the baby was sleeping in his crib. The baby monitor has a camera. On the camera, you could see a bright, shining light. Aww. These little
And then
stories.
she has a second part to it, just a couple
yeah.
comments down.
We looked and nothing was on the monitor. Once the light disappeared, the baby woke up right away. We can only think it was my grandma checking on him. I
Aw.
bet it was. Another weird thing that also happens sometimes is in a lot of pictures, there's always these little green orbs. And actually, when Bailey took me and the boys and I's picture there a couple weeks ago, she sent me some pictures, and there was one with like a big orb, and then there was another one with like a big orb and two little orbs. So I'm like, I'm so glad you gave me those ones because I like seeing that stuff. Like I like how.
And when I took those photos, like normally, because like you want to try to avoid that with pictures, right? So I was
Right.
trying to angle myself so the sun wasn't going to project anything like that or just make any harsh glares on the pictures.
Yeah.
So as I was editing them though, like those orbs just appeared. Like those weren't there as I was taking the photos.
Yeah,
So like I don't know, the camera captured them anyhow.
that's cool. Bet you it was my gram.
I have a similar story that's kind of sentimental. So before my mom passed away about 5 years ago or so, she would find heart-shaped things in everything she did and everywhere she went. So like if she was walking down the street and she looked down and there was a pothole, it would be in like a perfect heart shape. Or one time we went to PEI and we were sitting out on the deck and she spilled her coffee and the coffee spilled in a perfect shape of a heart. And then as she was cleaning it, she looked up and in the wood, there was like a hole, like a knot in the wood that was shaped like a heart also. And she used to post pictures of it all the time. She found hearts and everything and everywhere she went. And ever since she's passed away, a lot of people say like you find dimes that remind you of someone, or like everyone has something that reminds them of someone that they've lost. And for me, it's those hearts. So it's no matter where I go, like if I spill something, if there's crumbs on the floor, if I like get a bruise or something, like everything is in heart shapes. So that's always kind of stuck with me too. But these aren't scary, these are just nice ones.
Yeah, but it has to do with the dead. I like nice ones, honestly, more so than scary. All right, let's read a few more people in the comments here. So Sketch says, one day me and a few people went to an abandoned home. As soon as we entered, there was a dead bat on the floor, so we went to the second floor. My friend said, let's get out of here. Part 2 next.
You just, the next one's there.
I don't know.
The most recent one.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. As soon as we got back to the bottom, my brother said, everyone be quiet. And as soon as we went quiet, we heard a little girl laugh out loud. That's freaky. I would run like the wind. Trek B says, my great-grandmother said that they were watching a football game while the kids were in a different room and that they were playing, but then they saw this tall lady with long fingernails and then it disappeared. I'm assuming there's a part 2 coming for that as well.
Disappeared. What else would happen?
True.
Welcome, Pain Bite.
Pain bite.
Pain bite as we're in the
The pain
middle
bite
of
after
this.
the lady with the long nails disappeared.
Okay, that's freaky. Pain bite.
Oh, there's another one. There's another one from Funky Fox.
All right, Funk Fox. I was walking home one day and it was late and I had to pass through a field. And I say a figure and it was following, I saw a figure and it was following me, but I had a flashlight. There was nothing there.
Oh.
Freaky. Jacob says, one time me and my dad found a World War II rifle in the forest. So we brought it home and we put it behind the closet every night. It was scratching all over the back closet.
What?
That's freaky.
Welcome, Logie Bear. Thank you for subscribing.
Logie Bear?
Logie Bear.
I-E or just I?
L-O-G-I. That's right. Bear.
Cool. Jewel. Is there more to that one? Or should I wait to tell that one? Is there more to it? Okay, yeah. My great-grandma had let a man stay with her in the days before indoor plumbing, and he insisted he needed something to drink. My grandmother, just a small child at the time, walked out of her room. She watched the man's spirit get up and get a drink while his body laid still. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Really?
We should have answered it and put them on the stream.
It's my insurance company, so I don't know. Yeah.
So they
insurance
watched him-
companies are ghosts.
They watched him get up and get a drink.
Yeah. But
That's
they laid
crazy.
still.
That's crazy.
That would be like, I don't know if I would want to see anything like that. Really.
I don't think you really have a choice.
Yeah. That'd be freaky. Freaky, freaky, freaky.
So I've got a few ghostly stories here from Nova Scotia. I've got a couple short ones and a couple long ones, but I've picked a few that I thought were pretty creepy. So we'll start with this one, and it's located from right in Truro. So the story starts, and it says, around 2005, things were not going well in my marriage, so I decided to take my 16-year-old daughter, Ashley, and move. I decided to buy a house instead of renting, so after looking at several places, I found the one that I wanted. It consisted of a nice big porch, kitchen and living room upstairs. There was 2 bedrooms and a bath. It needed a little work, but I enjoy puttering around, so it was perfect, I thought. The backyard was beautiful with mature trees and well-placed flower beds. So she's really setting the scene for you here. Her daughter Ashley was attending the community college, and the woman was working in a nursing home, so living in Truro saved a lot of traveling time and gas. When she had the house rewired and the basement fixed, she started to renovate the inside room by room on her days off. She finally got to renovating her own room. She moved into her own bedroom upstairs, and during this time she owned a Lhasa Apso dog, and the dog would not go into her bedroom. So the dog used to go into Ashley's room with her daughter all the time. It would hang out with her daughter while her daughter watched TV and hung out in her own bedroom, but the dog would not go into this woman's room. And like your dog's your companion. Normally they would come into your room with you. So this had been going on for months, and then there was one night Ashley stayed at a friend's house. So it was her first night alone in this new house. She didn't really have any spooky feelings or anything of the sort, but she figured, if I'm going to be home alone, the dog is coming in the room to sleep with me. So they took the dog, named Chance, and she brought the dog into the room, and the dog started running off the bed. It kind of let out a little yelp, and then it ran down the stairs at top speed. She said it kind of ticked her off, so she went back downstairs, carried him up for the second time, and then she shut the door before she let him go. He started to whine at the door, but she laid down beside him, stroking his fur and talking to him, thinking he'd calm down in a couple minutes. Nope. So she let him up, and she let him go downstairs again. So this dog really did not want to be in her bedroom. So after about 4 months of the dog completely staying out of her bedroom, she went to work. She got home from work one night at about 11 p.m. She went into her bedroom to go to bed, and she could hear a man's voice holler, "Hey," from the corner of her room. So then it dawned on her right then and there that this is why the poor dog was scared of the bedroom. After she calmed down, she kind of got angry at the spirit, ghost, or whatever it was, and she said, "I'm not going anywheres. I'm tired and need to sleep as I have work tomorrow, so in God's name I command you to be quiet." She shut the light off and got back into bed and laid there listening, but all she could hear was her heart beating loudly in her chest. She finally fell asleep and was not disturbed again that night or for a few months. But then it was a reoccurring thing, and every few months, the exact same scenario would play out. The dog still never came into her bedroom, and she would still consistently, after a few months, hear this "hey" in the corner of the room. And each time it happened, she would just repeat the same thing she would say and say, "Leave me alone." Be like, "Get away from me." So then they finally moved out, or Ashley moved out of the house when she turned 18 to be on her own. And, the woman's name's Sherry. My bad. She remained there for another year before selling it. During those final months alone, she never heard the voice, she never heard anything spooky in her house again, and then she just assumed that her roommate lingered around to welcome the new owners as they never followed her to her new house. So that was located right here in Truro. That one happened. I haven't had anything like that happen to me, but I feel like if my pet wouldn't come in the room with me, I definitely wouldn't have stayed there. I want to have my pet with me.
Yeah, I would, if, I'm definitely looking up like that old, if I would never move into a haunted house ever. I would die before that happened.
How would you know?
Investigate, like not investigate paranormal, like just like look it up googly or something.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of the houses in Truro are really old townhouses that have
Build
been here
brand
forever.
new. But then you're pretty much screwed because what if you just built over a burial or something?
Well,
That's why you just dig deep.
I've got another short one here. It's from Peggy's Cove. So Nova Scotia has this place called Peggy's Cove. It's a world famous lighthouse.
Check it
People take
out.
pictures of this spot every year. It's very popular in Nova Scotia. It's definitely a tourist spot. So in Peggy's Cove, many years ago, there was a woman named Margaret who had moved to Peggy's Cove with her husband after an accident claimed the life of her children. Margaret spent her days and evenings walking the dangerous rocks of the cove, grieving the loss of her children. One day, in an attempt to cheer her up, Margaret's husband made his way out to the rocks to perform a dance to try and make his wife smile. Tragically, he slipped and fell to his death right in front of Margaret. Absolutely inconsolable, Margaret jumped into the ocean, taking her own life, but she never really left Peggy's Cove. In fact, to this day, visitors report seeing a distraught woman in a blue dress standing on the rocks above the ocean, and when people get too close, she jumps and disappears.
What?
I would jump if I was her too.
I definitely get like spooky vibes
Yeah, it
from,
gave me goosebumps.
like Peggy's Cove in general just kind of gives me those vibes.
Actually, speaking of scary stories too, yeah, it just reminded me too because Peggy's Cove, but it's close to it. And I actually just seen a post this morning. Too bad I didn't have the picture or send it into Brady or anything, but it's of a window of a church, and I guess
I saw that one too.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw that.
it
Yeah.
was- I could be wrong if I say this, but I guess that during the Halifax explosion, the priest got blown out this window, and they'll replace the window, but this shadow, they'll replace the pane of glass, but this shadow just keeps appearing in the pane.
Yeah.
No matter how many times they'll replace it, the shadow just keeps appearing, and it's of him, the priest.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
saw
it's
that
on
story.
like the very top floor of this really old building too.
What was he doing up there?
Well, I mean, maybe he was, like, it sounds like he was looking out to see what was going on. Like,
Yeah.
he probably heard some catastrophe happen and was looking out the window. I don't know why he was on the top floor, but in Halifax, they have what they call the harbor hopper that takes you and it drives all around Halifax and
Yep.
shows you stuff. And then the vehicle boat thing drives right into the ocean. And you go on a little cruise too. And I went on it as a kid, and that's one of the stops on their tour. And the shadow truly is still there, and it just looks like the shadow of a man looking out of the window.
Really?
Yeah.
That's freaky.
So,
So we got some stories on here.
yeah, the chat's sharing a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Just to continue on some of the ones that we shared already. One time, me and my dad found a World War II rifle in the forest, so we brought it home and put it behind the closet. Every night, it was scratching all over the back closet. And then he goes on, when we throw it somewhere in the woods after, it stops. So that's freaky.
That is freaky.
And then we've got some other stories coming in, continuation of, oh.
What? You want me to read anything? You good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Logie Bear. Should I read the Logie Bear one? Pain bite. Pain bite. Once I was with 3 of my friends, and where we were playing the horror elevator game at our apartment. So we went inside the elevator and clicked level 2. The elevator was normally going down the levels. Sorry, I've seen this and I like it. And then we went back to our level and came out and wrote down, "Oh, Hex, mighty spirit, we have a body sacrifice for your greatness," and burnt the paper and went back down the elevator. We clicked the second level again, and while the elevator was going down, we heard a little girl's voice saying, "Help." That's freaky, and that gave me goosebumps too.
Yeah.
So Trek put a part 2. So I might, okay, so I'm going to read it all again because if not, it was a while ago. So my great-grandmother said that they were watching a football game while the kids were in a different room. They were playing, but then they saw this tall lady with long fingernails and then disappeared. But after that, they heard scratching sounds. So they started screaming and they couldn't open the door. But when they finally opened the door, but when looked for the lady, they couldn't find her. Yeah, that's freaky.
That would be terrifying.
Oh, Pain Bite has a part 4. The elevator one. We then reached the second level and we went on a little walk there because it was creepily quiet. So we saw a figure around the corner. We freaked out and we went back to our level and met my mom. I bet you did. I actually maybe this is why I'm scared of stuff. I don't think anything ever actually happened, but I remember I had friends over and they were my parents' friends' kids, and we did the whole Bloody Mary thing where you go in the bathroom and you write her name on the mirror and then you're supposed to say her name so many times. I chickened out. I couldn't do it. No way. No way, no way.
There's part 5.
Oh, part 5. We told my mom about everything, and since we are Muslim, she read some Quran verses. Quran verses, sorry.
Yes.
Trek has the scariest story ever. Luigi board.
Is that it? Is that the story? It's just the
Is that the
Luigi
story?
board?
Guys, look at our pumpkins. Podcast. Go check out the video. Part 1. Stewie, I'll wait for all your parts to come in before I read your story.
I'll read another short one right quick, just while we wait
please
for
do.
a few more to come in. This one is about the Algonquin in New Brunswick. So
Ooh, my cousin had her wedding there.
yeah.
That's
So a lot of
like
people have been here.
Expensive hotel.
Yeah,
Go
it's
on,
like a
sorry.
resort. It's
Yeah.
not even really a hotel. It's like a resort.
Yeah.
So it's located in St. Andrews Bay, or St. Andrews by the Sea in New Brunswick. The Algonquin boasts beautiful views, iconic charms, and over 400 rooms. So just for people listening, if you don't know where we're located, we're in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick is just the next province over in the Maritimes. So with so much to offer, it is no wonder more than one guest has decided to stick around the grounds. That's right, the Algonquin is also home to multiple ghostly guests, including a night watchman who endlessly roams the hallways and stairwells of the resort. Legend has it he makes his presence felt by jangling a mysterious set of keys. There's also a young child who can be heard but never seen, laughing and playing through the expansive hotel. And if you're spending the night, you may get a history lesson on the hotel itself from an old man who loves to talk and then vanishes into thin air.
I'd never go there. Would you?
Loves to talk and then vanishes?
Yeah.
So I'm
I
not
like-
exactly sure what they mean by vanish. Is it you look away and look back and he's not there anymore? Or does he just kind of poof away?
I don't know, and I don't know if I want to know.
So these stories I'm actually reading, that one specifically and the one about Peggy's Cove is from ferries.ca. So you can actually book reservations to ferries. So this is a legit website. And then the other stories that I've been reading is from Caretakers Paranormal, and they've created their own website, Nova Scotia Ghost Stories. And I found it pretty easily just by typing in Nova Scotia Ghost Stories. And all of them are sent in, obviously, by Nova Scotians. And they don't really have their name or address or anything on it. Some people are anonymous, but it's all local websites and local stories, just to fact check where I'm getting this from.
I like those stories. We were saying there's like a lot from Londonderry too, which is also like another local small town from around here, and I'll probably never go to Londonderry again.
Yes. So this one, I started telling you a bit about earlier, but I didn't want to tell you the whole thing.
Right.
So this story is titled The Headless Dog of Londonderry. So if you're from around here, Londonderry is a very small community. My mom actually grew up there with her side of the family. It's right around like Great Village and those areas. So the story goes, I grew up in a very small community called Londonderry in Nova Scotia. In a place like that, you know everything about the people who live there, all their family members, where they worked, what vehicles they drove, what church they attended, so on and so forth. Everyone there knew everyone else there. She says, one of my favorite ghost stories was that of the headless dog first shared by Mrs. Tinney. She related that in the day of horse and wagon, there was a man who never left home without his trusty dog. One night he must have been in a rush as he was whipping his horse on the old gravel road that takes you to Folly Lake. The old Londonderry bridge back then was only one lane, and just before he reached it, he lost control of the wagon. Sadly, since he had been traveling so fast, the wagon tipped over, rolling several times, killing both the man and his dog. Rumor has it that a wheel had rolled over the dog's throat, which severed its head completely, hence the headless dog. Mrs. Tinney told how she was out walking alone one night, down that same road, when suddenly a dog appeared beside her. For a brief moment she was startled, but just as she began to relax, the dog looked up at her, and what she saw would stay with her for the rest of her life. She said the eyes on the dog were spinning like a child's toy top. It was the most disturbing thing she had ever witnessed in her life. Screaming, she made her way home, and even though she lived to a ripe old age, she would never travel that road again after dark. It was Christmas night, 1968. The person who wrote this story, Sherry L. again, it's actually the same lady, so she's had multiple encounters. So Christmas night, 1968, Sherry was 14 years old and had just come home from visiting her friend, who happened to live a little further up the same road Mrs. Tinney had her scary experience. Of course, that was not on Sherry's mind, as she had walked this road hundreds of times over the years. She was anxious to return home and go through her Christmas gifts again. It was a beautiful moonlit evening, and she was quite enjoying her walk when she felt something rubbing against her leg. Surprised, I looked down to see a dog I didn't recognize, but I knew somehow it was a purebred and not a mutt most people owned. Since I was sure my mom would not be pleased if I let a dog follow me home, I bent down and picked up a snowball. In the brief second, the dog disappeared. I turned in a complete circle and there was nothing. Looking down to see if I could see its paw prints to see what direction it went, there was none to be found. I could see my own footprints, as there was at least an inch of new fallen snow on the road. Dumbfounded, I continued home and told my mother the story of this mysterious dog, but she was busy and not really interested in my story. A couple months later, my younger sister was doing a book report for school. I had no idea she visited Mrs. Tinney and was writing about the headless dog. She asked me to listen to her report to make sure it was good enough to pass in. As she began, I wasn't too interested, but she began describing what the dog looked like, and it was exactly what I had seen. A short dog, big head, and 3 black spots on its back. Like me, Mrs. Tinney could not say what breed it was, as she had never seen one like it. Also, she never saw it again, and neither had Sherry, even though they had asked everyone around if they had gotten a new pet. Reading that report left Sherry no doubt that it had been the exact same thing her neighbor witnessed over 50 years before that. Years later, Sherry was curious enough to do a search on dog breeds to see if she could recognize the one she saw. Turning the pages, she wasn't sure what she was looking for, and then there it was, a bull terrier, if you know what those look like. So it was the first time she had seen one since she was 14, and she's never seen another dog like that, dead or alive. She didn't know why the dog appeared so long ago, but one thing she's grateful for is that she never looked into its eyes. And then she says, the names are real, and nobody I've talked to has known anyone owning a bull terrier, certainly not in Londonderry, Great Village, Folly Lake, or Wentworth. Sincerely, Sherry L. So if you're ever traveling around Londonderry and you spot a white bull terrier looking dog, it's not real.
That's freaky. I had like goosebumps like certain parts of the story, like when the creepy things.
It freaks me out too because my family's from the area, I know of the Tinney family. I don't know them well, but
Yeah.
I do know of them and know they exist. So that's pretty freaky. I certainly haven't encountered it myself, but be freaked out if I did, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too. I would run like heck. So Jewel says, how do you say that word?
La Lorena?
La Llorona. It's a traditionally Hispanic scary story of a woman whom killed her kids in the river because her husband was cheating. She then killed herself after realizing what she had done. She now searches the river for her kids. Good thing I'm not where that is, that river. Please don't talk about La Llorona. I didn't sleep for a week after watching the movie. I love scary movies, but I would never watch one alone. I think I watched too many as a kid. I watched like all like the original Exorcist as a kid, like all the originals, and now I would never want to watch one alone, ever.
Really?
No, I wouldn't do it.
I don't know. Scary movies just aren't scary enough for me now these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just too grounded now.
I don't know, like The Exorcist freaks me out because that can actually happen.
What do you mean?
People can, like, imagine that happening and you're being, oh, no, let's not.
Getting
talk about it.
possessed?
Yeah.
You mean like where a ghost like follows and attaches to you?
Yeah.
Like what happened the other day?
But like, I don't know.
You're in the bunker?
It just freaks me out because like when they tie her to the bed and like she's like, the power of Christ compels you, and she's like, and like she's going crazy. That's freaky.
Well, yes.
I just find scary movies are so overdone that it's hard for me to feel scared of them at this point. Because it's like that most of the stuff that happens in them isn't necessarily realistic. Like I can't say that about every scary movie ever, but a lot of them is just like It, for example, by Stephen King. Like great story and everything, but a clown living in like a sewer.
Yeah,
like,
see I could watch that type of scary movie by myself too.
yeah, because it's just a storyline. But then the movies that are supposedly based on true stories and they just get blown way out of proportion, I can't. They don't scare me. They interest me, but they don't scare me.
I'm trying to think of that movie that I watched recently that, I forget. I can't even remember in the slightest. Anyways, Noble Canadian says, you mean Kelly's ghost boyfriend in the bunker?
I think the scariest ones are the ones that have some kind of grounding in, like the ones that come across like they're documentaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Those are the
They
ones
make
that.
you seem real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Like
there was
the new American Murder movie on Netflix or documentary. Have you seen that?
No, I don't watch those.
I don't want to give it away for you. I'm not going to tell you everything that happens, just because we're also live too, but it's the story of a woman and her 2 children that were mysteriously murdered, and they live in America, obviously, American Murder, and the whole movie, for the most part, the whole movie is literally put together from clips that came off of police officers' body cams and like the cameras that are in interrogation rooms. So the whole movie is like, it's legit. It's a documentary and it goes on and you end up finding out who the murderer is in the end, and they give you like a long intro so you know like the whole background story of this woman and her 2 daughters. And yeah, like that one I was really interested in because like it's scary, but it's real, and they're real footage being used from body cams and cameras that are placed in different like stores and interrogation rooms, and those are the kind of scary documentaries I like too.
I agree. Maybe I should watch that, but not alone.
Not alone.
Never alone. And never in the bunker. If you watch anything scary in the bunker, you're crazy.
Remember when we watched The Shining in the bunker?
We watched The Shining.
I
last
did
year.
not.
I did.
Yeah.
I watched like 5 minutes of it and then I was outie. See you bye. Yeah, that was actually one of our biggest ones that people bought tickets for. Was The Shining. Watch The Shining in the bunker. Somebody has a little funny story here. It's not really scary. Should we tell it?
Sure.
Okay. Part 1. The Tale of the Bunker Pumpkins. It was a normal day in the bunker, trying to get that safe open. We decided to take a break and carve pumpkins. My coworkers carved a bat one. 1 second. And a 2021. I carved a YouTube one. So we decided to get back to the safe, and then the pumpkins came to life, so we all ran, but they found it. But then the day was over and everything went back to normal.
Okay.
You should be a short story writer.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think Sketch wants us to go back to the city.
Yeah. What did Jewel say? Oh, the Purge show.
Jules visited we were talking about The Shining a minute ago. She said she visited the Shining Hotel and she has pictures outside of it.
Oh, I see that there now. Crazy. Crazy. Hi, Jake. Jake's back. Movies like VHS, VHS2, the Poughkeepsie tapes, some of the best scary movies ever. We'll see.
So I've got one more story here that I want to share. It is written by a woman named Michelle, and it takes place in Thorburn Exchange, Pictou County. So it says oh my goodness, speak Bailey. On a lonely dirt road in Thorburn Exchange, Pictou County, Nova Scotia, you will find a lone headstone along the road that belongs to a young girl named Catherine McIntosh. She died April 23rd, 1882, and was only 1 month shy of her 9th birthday. Many people have visited her
How'd she
graves.
die?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
I could probably look into it a little more, though, but it doesn't
Sorry,
say exactly.
I was just curious.
Many people have visited her grave over the years, not only out of curiosity, but because it is believed to be haunted. There are also many myths surrounding this location, including how to get a response from Catherine. So apparently, if you growl, touch the headstone, leave a toy, or remove a toy from her grave, like different things, like they're saying that, I'm not sure if this is, because it's saying including how to get a response from Catherine, but then it lists off these things, but I think it means like these are the responses that Catherine will give you. I don't think this is stuff that you do to provoke her.
Okay.
So I'm just rereading that now, and just to clarify, I think that's what it means. So it says growling, touching, pushing, leave a toy or she will get mad, remove a toy from her grave and something bad will happen to you.
Jeez.
And then it goes on to say, since visiting her grave, we were contacted by Michelle Mcdonald, a descendant of Catherine McIntosh, who had the following information to share with us. So not much is known about this, but I thought I would share what I do know. She died from an illness, doesn't say what kind though, and was originally buried in McClellan Cemetery. However, there was a dispute with a neighbor and she was dug up and moved to the side of Greenvale Road in front of the family farm. Apparently the farm is not far behind the headstone. One family member used to speak of attending her funeral and they only lived a couple miles away. Catherine's father, Robert, worked at McPherson's Mills. So they buried her across from where they frequented. Myself and a friend, this is Michelle speaking, myself and a friend went there to see the grave. We did experience a growl, although you can't hear it on the recording that they took. When they returned home, there were 2 small handprints in the dust on her Jeep, and they don't have any small children, nor were they around any small children that day.
That's freaky. And we have a guy in the chat saying, I grew up near there. I visited this grave many times. I only knew you were supposed to leave a toy.
So is this, okay, cool, I was gonna,
Maybe
yeah,
that
and then
helps.
there's just a little clip, and you can't hear much from it.
Oh, you want me to play it?
Yeah, right at the end there, it just has like a little sound. So they're saying that apparently.
Can you tell me why you were buried here?
Apparently, it sounds like she's saying Joseph. I don't hear that, but that's what they caught on their recording.
Oh. I feel bad for this little girl.
Well,
While you were buried here?
go leave her a toy.
Can you tell me why you
Should
were
be safe.
buried here?
Where do you
Yeah.
get that?
I feel bad for that little girl. She doesn't,
Just leave her alone.
yeah. Let her pass over. Poor thing. I don't hear Joseph. I don't hear who was Joseph. All I hear is
Just sounds like Sadek to me.
Yeah.
One
Yeah, I
night,
didn't
me and my
really-
dad were in the car going home. Me and my dad saw a woman standing in the middle of the road, all bloody. Then me and her made eye contact, and I yelled to my dad, saying, "Go, go, go!" Yeah, I would have too. Until you hear the next day that.
Yo, if you find a bloody woman in the street, do not run away. That's not good advice.
No.
Yeah, but like. maybe
Unless
they
it's
knew
like
a ghost.
Carrie or something.
Actually, that kind of reminds me of a story. I remember driving Onslow Road one day, and there was this woman, I'm assuming a woman, dressed in, she kind of looked like a woman, I guess, dressed all in white. And I was like, that's really weird, because she was just kind of walking almost in the middle of the opposite lane as what I was driving in. So I literally turned around a couple driveways up, and I drove back, and she was gone.
That's
Really?
scary.
I actually forgot about that till right now.
There's a part 2 to the story you just read.
Oh, part 2. The next morning, I looked up from the history of the place, and a witch was killed for being a witch, and locals say that they see her.
Oh, so they saw a bloody version of this ghost witch.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real person they were running away from.
They used to kill witches all the time back in the day.
How crazy is that in Salem? They used to kill witches.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, I think that's just a reason to kill women. Like, I think.
And I was just about to say that. That was a reason to kill women because, yeah. I read an article on that this morning, actually.
I've been to Salem.
Have you?
Have you?
Yeah. Do they still kill witches? They didn't kill anyone else there. There was lots of they're making a mint off it. But it's crazy. Like, they killed. I don't know.
Like thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands? Really?
Yes.
Wasn't it like, didn't for when they killed the witches, wasn't it like, we're gonna prove you're a witch, we're gonna tie bricks to your like ankles and throw you underwater. If you live, you're a witch, but if you die, you're not.
But no, they like these witches would be good at
They were just talented women.
yes.
And men couldn't handle that.
Exactly. So they were witches to them, and they
Brutal.
were killed.
And now
That's
you can buy
crazy.
a witch hunting pamphlet for $40 in Salem.
If you look up Barefoot Farmers, sorry, not Barefoot Farmers, Barefoot 5, I think it's called. I don't know. There's a good article that was posted on there this morning about witches and how they killed them all because they were smart.
I was listening to a podcast the other day that was talking about someone sent in a story from like their hometown or whatever, and I guess they have relations to like witches that were in Salem, and they have this like great grandmother, and the grandmother, she wasn't giving people fortunes, but she was kind of doing like how you read people tarot cards and stuff, and you just give them like a general idea of what's going to happen in their future. And the people of the town didn't like that this lady did this, so they were going to burn her at the stake. And then they took her to the stake, and as they tied her up to it and everything, she said something along the lines of, you can burn me here on the stake, you can do whatever you want to me, and you can abolish everyone of my kind, but I will see it that you drown in your own blood someday. And then the person, not sure if it was like a mayor or what the situation was, but the person that sentenced her to burn on the stake, he ended up dying years later. Something happened with like his breathing or something of the sort, and no one really knows exactly what happened, but he was found, and he had drowned in his own blood. He had a mouthful of his own blood, and it was all dripping down his cheeks and his neck. So that witch put a hex on him that day that he sentenced her to the stake.
Yippers. Have you ever been to a psychic or like a tarot card reading at all?
I remember actually when I was like 20 years old or something like that. What was I? Somewhere around there. Anyways, I had a friend who was big time into that.
Yeah.
Right? And she was like, oh, you have to see this lady. She's so good. And all this kind of
Do you
stuff.
remember her name?
No, I can't remember her name. But so my friend was like swearing by her that I should go see her and all this kind of stuff. So I was just like, okay. I'd never seen a psychic before that, right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, I just want to see what this is like, right? So people like $20. Now, today it's like 60, I guess,
yeah.
or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But back then it was like $20. So sat down and she does this reading, and she did all kinds of things. She did the things with the cards.
Yeah.
She did this thing with tea leaves, and it was funny. She was like, almost all the stuff she said was wrong, by the way. It was just like, it was totally not right. She told me things like, yeah, I see you getting into a new job. You're going to become a security guard, you know, like, and I was just like,
See,
what?
that's the thing with those. But
I
that's
was
the
just
thing
like-
with those readings. They don't always see like the whole picture. They just see like certain things. So maybe this was the new job, and she said security because it's an old military building.
That's what they want you to do. That's how far.
Are you serious?
Do you ever see the episode of South Park where Stan becomes a medium?
No.
No, I didn't watch that show.
It's great.
I actually went to see
Actually,
one.
I think I vaguely recall that. And all he did was like he figured out what to say, and he just like went around and told people. And he's like, "No, you shouldn't be listening to me. I'm just telling you this, right?"
He's going around and doing a really bad job of it on purpose. But
Yeah.
people are doing what Kelly did and like, no, I do have a grandfather, but his name's not Gerald, it's Jack.
Well, that's because that's what they see. They don't. It's not. They don't see into the big whole picture. They don't see this like colorful picture.
I never became a security guard.
No,
So
but you got a new job
what does that have to do with this?
at a military secure place.
Okay.
Okay,
And
when
what he said about the girl was totally wrong too. That was wrong too.
I
So-
went to see one time, and they said a couple things that, like she said, I was going to move into a house that had like wagon wheels at the end. But the funny thing is, when we moved here, when I was 2 from Ontario, the house that we moved into had wagon wheels, but they were long gone. So it was kind of weird that she said that.
Now I did see another psychic more recently when I went to Thailand.
Oh, okay.
Now I believe psychics in Thailand more than I believe psychics around here. Okay. Only because like here it's all commercialized.
Yeah, I get that.
Right?
Yep.
In Thailand, it's not a commercial thing. It's like a spiritual thing to them. So I saw this guy, and he didn't see me because he's blind. Okay.
Ah.
And so I sat down with this guy,
So he
and
says.
and he said it was interesting because at the time I was in the middle of some legal rigmaroles.
Okay.
And he says to me, of all things, he's like, "You're in a legal battle now." And I was like, "What?" Like, how could you possibly, like, of
Nailed
all
it.
the things to come up with,
Yeah.
this guy comes from another side of the world, and this guy says, "You're in a legal battle." He knows nothing about me, like nothing. And then he starts bringing down the cards, and I see like some weird cards, and he just goes, and he flips one another, and he goes, "It's going to be a long battle, but you'll win," right? And that's what happened.
It was a
right?
long battle, but
Yeah.
you came out on top.
And then he's just like, "What does he?" And then he asked my wife. He's like, "What does he do?" Because he asked in Thai because he speaks Thai. She was
Yeah.
translating for me.
Oh, okay.
And because I couldn't understand, like,
Right,
yeah.
right, yeah.
So then translates for me. He's like, "What does he do?" He's like, "What does he do?" And she's like, "Oh, he works with computers." And he's like, "I just see all this money coming to him." he's like, "I've never seen this before so much." Like that's what he tells her.
That's kind of cool.
Right,
She's
and
probably
so-
like, I'm staying with him.
So I was like, but this is like, and then he said something about how we were gonna have a son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, said something like that.
That's cool.
So I can remember that, and that was in Thailand. That was years ago.
I actually recorded my whole thing, but it was on an old phone, and I still have the phone. I'm gonna see if I can
Yeah.
open it up.
Yeah.
Maybe Brady can get this on the stream itself. Jewel posted a picture on her Instagram and tagged us in it.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I have never been so rudely interrupted.
I changed pages.
She tagged us in it on Instagram, and it's a picture of her standing in front of the hotel from The Shining, if you wanted to take a peek at that.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll try. Hold on.
And while we're waiting for that, Braden's art says, my dad saw a ghost who supposedly got into a motorcycle accident and their head had supposed to have been cut off. If I seen a ghost with no head, like the Headless Horseman,
Well, the headless motorcyclist.
I would run.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Good job. You should make a short horror movie in both bunkers. There's actually one already filmed here in this bunker called Bunker 6. If you want a copy, let us know.
Yep.
Make another one.
Yeah, I agree.
We have the means to.
Should we make a short movie here?
Yeah, should we?
Yeah.
I'll direct it.
We can make a movie.
We will.
I'll be there. Darn you.
Jake will be the
All these.
Jake will be the ghost kid.
I'll be the guy who came from another company to sabotage.
Ooh. Look at that, Jewel. Freaky.
Even need makeup, already have enough.
What are we looking for?
That's the thing from The Shining.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you guys see anything in the picture?
Yeah, I thought I saw something in the top corner.
Ooh, don't say that.
Well,
Don't
it's
say
probably just a cloud, but I thought I saw some kind of shape that's standing on top. Yeah, right there on top. Oh, sorry.
That?
It's just clouds. Never mind.
Okay.
Anybody can say it's just clouds, but it looks like a person silhouetted up
I
there.
see a face in that top.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
All
So
right.
thank you for joining us on this very spooky show. So we've shared our ghost stories, we've shared our ghoul stories, we've shared our experiences. Thank you to the chat for sharing your stories with us. That was awesome. Really appreciate you guys being part of this, and highly, highly recommend you. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say stay safe.
Stay safe.
Have an awesome Halloween.
The chat's recommending we make a movie.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone's saying we should make a movie.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We need somebody to write it.
We need
Right.
somebody to fund it. Hello.
Yeah.
We're just talking about the guy. Like, you got a bunch of money coming.
Maybe that's how it happens. Okay, so thanks so much for everyone joining us. Hope you have a fantastic Halloween weekend.
Don't forget to keep an eye out for the post to vote on which pumpkin is the best. We do have 3 more to showcase, so don't vote yet, but just saying, mine's this cute little hanging bat. He's so cute.
If you want to see
So
2020 get destroyed, mine's the one to vote for.
Okay, I was done mine before he even thought what to make his, so.
Yeah, because I put extra special thought into being able to completely smash 2020. If you want to smash 2020, you'll vote on the 2020 pumpkin to have it smashed.
The voting works. The voting works on the nicest pumpkin. 2020's getting smashed anyways.
Exactly.
That's what's
And
so
it's
awesome
not
about it.
whose is the scariest, Stewie. It's whose is the best. Yeah, whatever one floats your boat.
Inevitable 2020 being smashed is awesome.
Smash the like button. I was going to do something funny like that. Remember?
Yes.
I told you about it?
Yes.
Didn't do it, though. All right, guys. We shall not see you next week. We will miss you so much.
We will miss you.
Jonathan might be on some TikTok, though.
I'll probably be on some TikToks.
On vacation on some days.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Subscribe, like, see ya Friday.
Have a good Halloween!